Hey guys, Desolate Magic here, and spicy video today because Mark Rosewater spun up a bunch of controversy and hate and backlash and everything by showing once again on his blog how completely out of touch with the community the entire company is, and him especially. So he's heavily implying that they aren't aware of how pissed off people are right now. Have they seen these spiraling downward numbers of participation in MTG Arena? What do they think is causing it? Everybody's been blowing up standards saying this is unplayable, this is crap, I'm sick of this, I'm quitting Magic forever. Does he just think that those are outliers? Those are just the loudest minority? What? I mean, people like to kind of jokingly say that, all the Wizard staff, they only listen to people who kiss their ass on his stupid blog and Twitter and all that. And then they literally just block anybody who disagrees with them. And that they live in their own little, echo chamber bubble where everybody thinks everything they do is great. And they hang out with the pro players and the judges who obviously are very biased towards super high level, high power, who cares about fun, competitive tournament play. Which is why they constantly say deck diversity, that's all that matters. When they really just need to step back and say, are the other 99.99%, I'm not kidding, that's about what it is, of MTG customers having fun playing the game at FNM and on Arena? Because obviously if the answer is no, who gives a crap what the pro scene looks like? Nobody participates in it, very few people watch it, and the people who are watching it are just dumbass lemmings, they're net decker follower wannabes, they're just stupid sheep. I mean, they're wannabes. They want to be a pro, and they feel like, oh, if I follow every pro on Twitter and read everything they ever do and watch the streams, I'll be a pro too. And then they don't have the skills to back it up, and they just copy other people's work and, couldn't come up with an original tier 1 power deck in their life, let alone, make a sideboard decision. So that's their little sphere of people that they get feedback from, and all their buddy people who are basically all pro players and hang out with them, see them at tournaments. And they never listen to the community, except, when there's a big outrage thing, they just write it off as, people are never happy with anything we do. I think he's actually made that statement before. Or, there'll be a portion of the community that's always unhappy with some decision or some design change. You can't please everyone. Well, I've got news for you, jackass, because this time you made it multiple choice and opened it up for an actual poll, to see what the actual percentages are. Now remember, this is still biased by people who follow his stupid, shitty, ass-kissing blog. If this is actually just randomly selected members of the community, it would probably be 98% or higher, number 3. So what did he actually post? So he posted a question that said, Mark, people seem very worried about the power level of recent sets in comparison with previous times. Is Wizards acknowledging this and making an effort to tone down future sets on this regard? Let's see, I don't know if this is still a quote from that person or if Mark added this or if the person who asked this is quoting the article that said this. I don't know. But anyway, regardless, the second paragraph is, about a year ago, we made a conscious effort to raise up the power level of current sets as it had drifted downwards for a number of years. That's not true. And players had complained about it. They put in parentheses. That I guarantee, Mark wrote. It's not currently higher than it's been at past times of Magic's life. I mean, it depends how you look at it. Alpha and Beta, the cards from Alpha and Beta are horribly broken, like Time Walk and Black Lotus. But back then, they weren't. Back in those days, Sarah Angel and Shiv and Dragon were game-ending threats. Now you look at some of the most broken decks and broken standard metas in history. We're talking Artifact Lands, Cawblade, Jace. Yeah, but then again, did they win on turn 4 with a Winota Rush? Did they summon 30 power on turn 4? No. So no, I don't think that the Magic standard meta has ever been this powerful. Not even close. I think he's completely wrong about that. I think he's mentally taking cards that were legal back then and saying, wow, look at the power of Snapcaster Mage, and then expanding it to, the modern card pool and, oh, look what that card does now. And he's confusing the two. I mean, Death Shadow when it was in standard versus Death Shadow in modern right now. Big difference. So he says, so I guess I'll ask, what is your opinion of Magic's current power level for standard legal sets? Is it A, too low? Lot of votes for that one. You'd like to see us make standard legal sets more powerful. I mean, let me just be honest. The vote count for that wasn't 0. But B is just right. You'd like to see us keep standard legal sets at the power level they currently are. Or C, too high. You'd like to see us make standard legal sets less powerful. So choose A, B, or C and explain why. And he got 278. It says notes. I assume that means comments? I don't know. The sign looks like the like button. I don't do Tumblr. I mean, Tumblr makes Twitter look like it's not full of far left, crazy, liberal, narcissistic, egotistical pieces of human garbage by comparison. And it is, by the way, in case you don't use it. So I counted up the first 2 pages of replies because I thought, well, it's about the same ratio the whole way, so I'm not going to count all of them, but I didn't skip any. Unless somebody rated it like between B and C, which quite a few people did. I think there was about 5 to 10 votes for that. So I didn't put a point in each one. I just ignored it. And I could see a lot of people falling into that category, but okay. Out of a truly enormous amount of comments, we had 4.3% vote for A, we had 26% vote for B, and we had an overwhelming 70% of people vote for C. And remember, this is like I follow Mark Rosewater because I'm a pro wannabe. I love high power. Tier 1 is the best. I net deck everything. That's the crowd on here. That's who he's asking. And still it was 70% C. And since he didn't just say, hey, leave a letter below, he said explain, and they all did. I noticed a pattern that the people who wrote C had very insightful, deep answers with examples, specific cards, like specifically what they didn't like compared it to what they did like. It was like a short essay. And the people who voted B have a delusional view of the game, society, and reality. I think they honestly should be on some medication. Let me read some examples. Like the first one is C. Absolutely C, they wrote. So it's C period, absolutely C period. It is my opinion that a lower general power level is more fun, and that as power level increases and the speed of the format increases as well, the more games are decided by one person stumbling with little chance of coming back. Also, a higher power level hurts players who play non-rotating formats. You cannot have confidence that you will be able to play your deck for so much as a year, and cycles of new cards leading to bans drives players out. Absolutely every single point he made was spot on correct. I would have phrased it as whoever just happened to shuffle the right winning combination to the top of their deck by sheer randomness wins, mixed with whoever goes first wins. Like if you're going to win on turn 4 and your opponent's going to win on turn 4, if you go first, you win. If they go first, they win. It's usually that simple. Even if you have like a counterspell or a kill spell or something, they have such an advantage. Now, if you go to turn 15, you won't even remember who went first. By turn 15, it doesn't matter. And Wizards had said they want to reduce the whole I lost because and then fill in the blank with anything that was out of your control and replace it with I lost because I played this at the wrong time. I made the wrong decision. I chose the wrong mode, as they call it, on modal spells that let you choose, one of the 3 following. I cast this out of order. I made a wrong assumption about when my opponent was playing. I lost because I played worse than my opponent, not because, oh, look what card came up. Oh, look at my opening hand. Oh, I win. I went first. I win. Just anything that's out of your control is like, wow, that was a stupid waste of a game. Wasn't even worth shuffling. They wanted to take specifically draw luck, but just generally luck out of the equation and replace it with skill and proper play. And what you need is for the game to last longer than 4 turns. And let me just say to all the dumbasses who voted B, there's this thing called Modern. Go play it. Like, why do you have to come play Standard? If you want super high-powered, like, ultra fast 100-mile-an-hour ping pong games where it's just back and forth, somebody won. Boom. Go play Modern, that's for you. If you don't like slower, more gradual, skill and thought-heavy gameplay, then don't play Standard. Now, with the second comment, it's so completely selfish and ignorant, I just have to read it. And this outlines who they made the decision for, because they did say they consciously upped the power level. They did this on purpose. Taskmaster Media says, B, I think cards shaking up older formats is reasonable. If old cards are playable, then why shouldn't... Tons of spelling errors in here. Then why shouldn't new ones be as well? Standard packs being relevant is awesome. And while I actually do enjoy a slightly slower standard... Oh, I missed that in the first read. than the current one, there's a lot that could happen. So in other words, I'm more interested in new cards for my fancy Commander deck and my shiny Modern deck than I am about Standard, and so I'm happy you made this decision because it suits me. So in other words, spike the whole format into the ground, I don't care, I don't play it, give me cards for the ones I do play, which was like almost everyone who voted B. Basically, their answer was, oh, I love Standard at this power level because I get new cards for my new stuff and I don't play Standard. Well, if you don't play Standard, you shouldn't even get a damn vote. Plus, hello, Commander decks, Modern Horizons. You ever heard of them? They give you new cards for your format, you assholes. Conspiracy, ever heard of it? Literally every other product is for you except Standard, so keep your stupid hands off of Standard, you selfish assholes. The next dumbass who voted B. People will always complain about the power level being too high or too low. Once rotation occurs, all sets left will be fairly powerful sets and the meta will adjust. So in his second sentence, he contradicts himself in the same sentence, and the first one is, well, some people think it's too high and some people think it's too low, so just leave it. Even though 70% of people think it's too high. So actually what you should do is go with the majority. And also if you want high power, go play Modern. So I just undercut all of his arguments. I told you, these people are idiots who voted B. I haven't found one person making a reasonable argument at all. Like, literally, not one person. The next person, to summarize it, they voted C. They say the number of bans is ridiculous. You're basically becoming Konami, aka the people who run Yu-Gi-Oh! And says we shouldn't feel like we need a new ban list every time a new set comes out. 100% legitimate, based on what's actually happening. Based ass comment right there. Another person voted C. They said due to moving, the last set they played was Eldritch Moon. And now that they're looking at, what's going on with the latest ones, they said I have no reason to jump back into the game. They have actively kept me out of the game. The last couple sets I did names by name. This next one goes hard. C, the point of Magic is to have fun, and I can't imagine anyone on Arena except the NetDeckers is currently. Normally, I play formats like Modern, which I left for Pioneer, okay, and Commander, okay. But with the quarantine, my only Magic interactions are on Arena. The power level has been pushed since last Standard with Chain Whirler and both Teferis. Yeah, most people do point at that as having started it. I think Amon Ket Scarab God was it. Actually, I think Energy was it. Because we had the Smuggler's Copter and the Energy Bands with Aetherworks Marvel. I really think those were too powerful. And then he says, yeah, those two, Chain Whirl and Teferi, were the reason I quit Arena and only just came back. And with Ikoria, Standard simply flatlined. Ouch. He actually has a 3-part comment, but I think you guys get it. Actually, screw it. He's got some spicy takes here. Why would I want to play Magic when someone will just turn 4 Agent of Treachery, Embercleave, or something else toxic? Or be forced to watch the opponent take over the game the second Teferi Time Raveler shows up? Oh, you got rid of it? Elspeth Conquers Death. No one wants to play Magic anymore. This is the time when you need to retain the customer base. We haven't had a meaningful ban since Oko, and the players are losing hope in multiple formats because you gave up last Standard, and it looks like you're giving up now. We don't need new cards to fix the problem. We need new bans. No amount of money will fix this. So stop trying to cater to other formats with Standard sets, or did you forget that Master sets and Modern Horizons exist? We need help. We need it now. I assure you, I didn't post this. I feel like I would have written this, but, thank God there are people as smart as me out there giving Mark Rosewater, the lowdown on what's going on, because he needs to read every word of that. He needs to maybe read it 10 times in a row and then just stare at himself in the mirror, reflecting what he did to absolutely and completely ruin the game, and then quit. Next person voting C. C, definitely. We are at the point where a 7-cost card can come out on turn 4, steal an opponent's permanent for the rest of the game, is not legendary, and rewards you with card draw if you can flicker it to steal more shit. Oh yeah, and now there's a Nightmare Cat wrecking Standard. I think by Standard they meant every format. There have been so many bans, and the bans are taking too long to put in. Then he makes an elk joke. And finally he ends with, it's like you guys design cards in a vacuum. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are supporting the theory that playtesting doesn't actually exist, they don't actually do it, and they aren't real people. We actually had somebody voting C, and they did not mention one word about Standard, but said what you're doing to the formats I actually play, Legacy, Modern, and all that, are ridiculous, and I'm frustrated, and this is terrible. So, I mean, there you go. Even people who don't care about Standard don't like the power level of Standard. People don't like their $2,000 decks getting irrelevant. I mean, I don't like a stale format, but And this has been ridiculous. Actually, the next person says it feels like the non-rotating formats aren't non-rotating because every time you guys come up with a new standard set, they basically rotate and some new broken crap comes out. Another person voted C and said, when professional Magic players on Twitter argue if Luros or Black Lotus is the best card, aka the most powerful card ever printed, you know you seriously effed up your latest Magic designs. They say they enjoyed when cards for Standard were actually designed for Standard. Oh man, it gets spicier from there, but we gotta move on. This is, it's like a roast. Oh, this person says, C, I feel like the last few sets going back to specifically Aether Revolt. Yes, you get it. Have been way too strong. I told people Origins, in my opinion, was the last good set. The last fair, good, fun set. Because I think we rotated, landed on Origins, Landfall was cool, and you could build one of like 15 different decks and have fun, and they were all appropriately speed that you didn't feel like turn 4, oh, well, the game's over. Every set since then, Standard shouldn't turn into Modern and have turbo control decks or people effectively winning on turn 4. Yeah, absolutely, amen. Not even worth my time driving to the store, let alone shuffling my deck if you're just going to win on turn 4 because you went first. Screw that. This person, to just paraphrase what they said, I've been playing since 2004. This is ridiculous. Standard is a mess. We need all this trash to rotate. I vote C. Oh, I've got bad news for you. All the broken stuff is going to survive rotation. Another person, I voted C because of all the free casting and quick ramp. Amen. They said we shouldn't be seeing 7 mana spells like Agent of Treachery coming out on turn 4 and then just permanently stealing people's boards. Yep. Oh, and then flickering it. Don't forget that. And then cloning it in the same turn. I actually saw somebody online go infinite with Gyruda on, it's probably like turn 8, but still, that should honestly never happen, ever, even on turn 30. Another person says, C, this is not at all friendly to new players. It needs to be slower, less complicated. Yeah, I get it. So you guys get the C, people. I mean, I don't need to tell you what's wrong with Standard right now and what people don't like. I mean, you watch my channel, you watch my videos. Some of you dumbasses watch my videos constantly and in every single video get pissed off and disagree with me. Unsubscribe button, bottom right. Seriously, why are you still here? Like, get the fuck off my channel. I'm kind of pissed that not one single comment here, though, said that the deck diversity would go up immensely if the power level went down. If you have just medium to high powered cards, you will get higher deck diversity than just, oh, well, now what do we have? You know, turn 4 Winota. And then if you're not playing that, you're screwed. I mean, remember Our Devastation? There was 2 decks you could play. That was it. You're playing Red Rush, or I legitimately forgot what the other one was, and nothing could compete with them. And the backbones of those decks were 1 individual card. Well, arguably 2. So if you keep doing high-powered cards, you're eventually going to find a build-around for those cards, like a deck to build around them. People use the term build-around for like 5 different meanings. And then those decks are just going to dominate because the card at the center of them is too damn powerful. It's that simple. Now, if you take it down a notch, get rid of these individual out-of-control cards, you could, like, just think about with Tier 2 right now. Just think about it. You could be playing any of the guild strategies, like you could be playing Golgari, like literally all 10 guilds are reasonably powerful decks. Well, okay, like 7 of them. But they're just completely undercut by the sheer speed and control and removal of the top tier right now. I mean, there are other central cards where you can make the strategy of the deck or 2 cards that do the same thing and then build a deck around that and play it, except it won't compete right now, but it would be powerful. I mean, I could name a lot of cards that would be highly powerful. I could, make diagrams and do equations and all this shit for 10 minutes and tell you guys that this is just how math works. But just take my word for it that if they got rid of the entirety of Tier 1 in Standard, Modern, anything, there would be, instead of 5 top decks, there would be Tier 2, which is usually like 30 plus decks. Some of them are good matchups against each other. Some of them are bad matchups against each other and other decks in it. But generally, for just an average arbitrary power level number, they would be around each other. They would all have, as I like to call it, a pretty good chance of winning if they're piloted correctly. And remember, this is a deck building game. You're supposed to be able to look at the cards, pick out a couple you like, and be like, that could be a deck. And then as long as you're right, and that's not it's not, a 5 cost and a 6 cost combo with no scry or way to fetch them, good luck, that's never going to happen. Basically, as long as you're not a dumbass and you know what you're doing and you can build a reasonable deck, you should be able to take that reasonable deck and go to F&M and go at least 3-2 with it. Sparing catastrophic levels of mana screw and bad luck and bad matchups. Right now, pick a net deck. If you're not running a net deck, you lose. That's simple. Deck building creativity, really? You're going to try to build a deck on your own and play against it, against people on Arena? Are you kidding me? You won't even make it out of bronze, and there's no loss penalty in bronze. Okay, so you guys are going to be mad if I don't include somebody who voted A, so I found one. A, I really got into Magic during Tempest Urza Type 2, which was the original name for Standard, and I missed that power level. Well, I didn't play back then, but I'm going to take a wild guess it wasn't at this level of broken. I don't know, it is Tempest, maybe it was. Well, nobody cares about your nostalgia, you idiot. We care about playing right now, and turn 4 is inappropriate for Standard, so actually you were just wrong back then, and you're even more wrong now, so screw you. Another person voted B and started off with, most comments I've read on here were honestly people who seem to be complaining without merit, even though like literally they're exact examples backed up with logic, reasons, anecdotes. Like, what comments were you reading? Another person voted B and literally said, I only play Commander, so thanks for giving me new cards. So they're fine with ruining the format for everybody else. Another person said they voted B and they say it's fine right now. I'll drain it at Korea specifically, which clearly they're from a different version of reality than ours. The perfect power level standard, blah, 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 whatever. But they said it's not too powerful, so decks aren't winning on turn 1, 2, or 3 without any interaction. That's their cutoff. I'm not even kidding. He has now skipped past Modern, and that it doesn't win on turn 1, 2, or 3 with 0 interactions is actually the baseline for banning a card in Legacy and Vintage. So he's using that baseline that Wizards uses to determine bans to apply to Standard. I told you, every last person who voted B is a raging, clueless, delusional idiot. They represent the most selfish people in the game who don't even play Standard, or just dumbass follower sheep net techers, or people who are just ignorant because they've stated they're brand new to the game and they're like, whatever, this is cool. You know, maybe they came from Yu-Gi-Oh! Or something, I don't know. Or they're just completely misrating the state of everything, or they're over-prioritizing like one tiny thing about the game and making it everything about that. Another person voted C, it's devolved to who can find the most optimized combo that's the hardest to answer, and he's sick of it. Absolutely. And then the last one, this I saw a lot. This guy wrote B, but like others said, it's to the exception of a few outliers that are really overpowered. So in other words, a bunch of problematic cards now that are too powerful and the entire ban list from the last 3 years. So other than that, it's fine. So in other words, it's not B, it's C. Like, did they really think it was just accidents? Or like, oh, besides all this shit you had to fix and all the absolutely ass gameplay we had to suffer through, other than that, it's great. Keep it up, guys. Here we go. B, I think the current Standard power level is probably fine, hyphen, though I don't play Standard. I am not kidding. That is word for word what they wrote. You know what? I'm going to correct this. For this is like when you clearly people filled out the ballot incorrectly in like the presidential election. I'm going to throw out some of these votes because some of these people clearly voted for the wrong person or are too mentally unstable to qualify to vote. I'm going to say 90% of people voted for C. That's about what it would come to. In fact, I think it's 100% of people voting C if I got rid of the people who claim they don't actually play Standard. So it really goes to show the poser wannabe, oh, high power, no power level is too high because it doesn't matter. I'm not building a deck. I'm just copying one off the internet. And I want to play the most powerful stuff anyway. So if it's cranked up to 11, I don't care. Just those absolute elitist, snobbish douchebags. We all know what members of the community I'm talking about. They're a way too high of percentage. If you want to see them in their natural habitat, Twitter, Reddit, and the entire website of MTG Salvation. That's basically where they live. Every single post on that shithole of a website turns into a dick measuring contest about who's the biggest pro wannabe and who's the most, pedantically right about some tiny little thing. And God help you if you call a deck tier 1 that you built or that somebody else built. You will start World War III with 50% of the people agreeing with you and 50% of the people saying, how dare you, this is not tier 1. I live by mtggoldfish.com. It represents my entire life and my entire opinion. I'm basically a robot, not even a human. And then the vast majority of people, everybody voted C on this one, is the longtime players who are like pointing out exactly, specifically what they don't like, why they don't like it, what needs to change, just how it affects gameplay, why they think it shouldn't affect gameplay this way. Like backing it up with not just emotions and stupidity and shallow nonsense. They're like, here's what I don't like. Here's when it was better, why it was better. Here's why I don't like this. Here's why I don't find this aspect and this side effect enjoyable. It is the logical, down-to-earth, based-ass normal people, the vast majority, the overwhelming majority of the community, who is like, this is some bullshit, and they've either stopped playing Standard, or they're just waiting for the cycle, the Standard cycle to happen, so that they can maybe take a second shot at it, but we've had 2 shitty Standards in a row, maybe even 3. So they're losing hope, and they're jumping all over Mark about this one. So for every dumbass, either actual pro player or pro player wannabe that's like, looks good to me, guys, there's at least 10 more saying, this is bullshit, I'm your paying customer, do what I say. You gotta go with the majority on this one. They gotta turn the power level down. I hope Mark read every word of every single comment and didn't just put up his little Mark filter with his little Mark rose-colored glasses and say, oh, well, this person's just wrong. Hey, somebody who supports me. Oh, these 10 people are wrong. Hey, somebody who supports me. And we all know that Mark is famous at the company for constantly proposing overpowered shit. He's admitted it, other staff have mentioned it. He is always the one trying to push the limits. It's always him. He is the source of this bullshit, and then the complete and utter lack of any playtesting is Aaron Forsyth. Those two need to be fired from their jobs immediately. I've never seen somebody do that poorly at their job for that long and not get fired. Like anywhere, at any company in all of human history. So yeah, hopefully this gives them a clue. Feel free to go find that stupid blog post. It's everywhere. I'm going to forget to link to it, but whatever. But yeah, this blew up on social media. I was like, hey guys, here's an opportunity to go give your opinion to Mark. Hell, I posted it on my community tab. But yeah, let's hope that this is like an actual survey, and at the next meeting, he's like, oh my God, guys, people are pissed. I didn't realize it was this amount of numbers. 48 votes for C, 18 arguably votes for B, and 3 votes for A is what it came down to. So anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. I'm going to go play more Skyrim. I'll see you later.